Hey, metal detecting enthusiasts! This is John from IDigHighTones. Thanks for joining us for this episode. Well, the permission I intended to be on today didn't quite work out. There was a mix-up and the owner wasn't there when I got to the property. So we're back on home turf. We're going to detect. I've got about 2 or 3 hours, spend some time here on my own property. Now, if you've seen any of the earlier episodes, you know that we did find a 1745 Spanish Real here about 25 feet from the back door. Also, more recently, I found an 1878 Indian penny, just 1 year later than the key date in the Indian Head series. So there's some promising finds that have been found here. We've got 8 acres to detect on. We're going to concentrate in the area behind the house that has really provided some interesting artifacts and coins, including that Spanish silver real from 1745. The house dates to 1790, so we know there's old stuff here in the ground, and it's my job to find it. So let's go, let's take a look and see what we can find. Oh, and one more thing, shout out to the good folks at the Cape May Bird Observatory, especially the volunteers. It's one of our favorite places to go in the summer. Great wildlife and migrating birds. Just a wonderful place, and the folks there do a fantastic job. So, hey, let's get going. Sun's going down, we got to get busy. See you soon. And our first dig of the day is a lead bullet. Right here at the base of a tree. First find, on to the next. And our second find of the day. Looks like another bullet shell, bullet casing from a small caliber gun. Well, on to the next. And digging down here deep, there's our answer, some can slaw. Not a great signal. Sort of a 44, 45 on the Deus 2, but it was loud enough and compact enough it had to be dug. And we'll clean out the dirt, clean out the soil for next time. On to the next. Okay, we've got a really nice 86 over here. 86, 87, 80. It's almost too loud. I mean, it is a loud, solid signal, and it sounds almost like a can because it's so big. But we're gonna have to dig this. It's under a bit of a tree here. I'm gonna dig it. It's not a very tight signal, but it is loud, and it's probably close to the surface. And you got to dig them. It's round, and boy, loud signal. Not what we're looking for, but it is about 3 or 4 inches down. So, well, on to the next. Here's my next hole, and here's the part in my video where I get to do a mea culpa. For some reason, the audio for the moment of discovery was a huge fail. As you can see, I've got a small object that looks a bit shiny, a bit crushed, clearly has age, and it appears to be a small thimble, and it looks to be silver. This would be only the second silver thimble that I found so far with my XP DEUS 2. The other was on another farm site. These are fascinating objects, and really thrilled to have it. It's probably colonial. Let's take a closer look. Well, there you have it, folks. That is an 18th or 19th, early 19th century silver thimble. That's our backyard of a 1790 Bucks County farmhouse, and it's got a little bit of damage, a little bit of wear, but cleaned it up as best I could in the field, and it's got a nice design around the base of it. Let's see if we can show it here. It's a very fine incision just around the base. You may not be able to see it on the camera here. If I can zoom in just a bit. There you go. You get a look at that around the base. Very nice, very pretty. We love finding artifacts like this on our home field. Uh, Probably colonial. I mean, that's got to be colonial or just barely post-colonial. Very light, um, and definitely handmade. Beautiful. And it was in an area that frankly wasn't very far from where we found our 1735 Real in December, on December 16th. So I think when they put an addition onto the house, they must have disturbed the soil and pushed it over to one corner of the property, which is where we found the Real. We found this, and I found other artifacts that appear to be contemporary to this same time frame. No other coins, but some furniture pieces, some old nails, and things of that sort. But for a short hunt today, quite happy with that. As I said, nothing sweeter than finding colonial artifacts in your own backyard. And I'll clean this one up a little bit better. And yeah, I will consider that a very successful hunt. Not a silver coin, but silver artifact is the next best thing. Well, we have another find here. It took me a little bit of time to find it. It was the bottom of the plug, and then it dropped back in here because it was covered in dirt, but it's here. And I think what we have here is a very early lead bag seal. There's some writing on it. I'm going to give it a spritz, and well, let's see if I can do it holding the camera so you can see real time as well. You see that design coming through? It almost looks like there's a sort of a flower and some writing underneath it, and I apologize. Oh, and there's the back. Look at that. You can start to see some words coming in the back. See an ER. Now, the only reason I'm so excited about this is it is in the area where I just found the silver thimble and not far from where we found our Spanish Real. So this is the hot patch over here with earlier material. And well, it looks like there might be an O, an N, an E and R flower underneath it. Not sure. Definitely appears to be a lead seal. There's the back. I'll give it a better cleanup later and take a closer look. But second interesting find here in our own backyard. And that's going to date from the colonial period. I mean, this is it's definitely a heavy lead seal bag. And we'll see if we can make some sense out of what's written on there. Well, this is something you don't find every day. I had a banger of a signal just a few feet away from where I had the lead bag seal and the silver thimble. And this was coming up as a 94, 95, and I'll bet you can see it here in the hole, something shiny. And I thought it was going to be something super special. And lo and behold, this is crazy. This looks like a loop, a jeweler's loop to me, which is absolutely crazy out here. That's exactly what it is. I don't remember losing one out here. And I don't think I've lived here long enough to have it down this deep in the soil. But it looks exactly like what we have here. It's crazy. I have now that's definitely a first, and you won't find this on any other metal detecting videos. Finding a jeweler's loop in the ground like that. That's well, it's utilitarian. We'll see how it cleans up. Maybe it's the glass is still there on both sides. What do you know? Well, this is our yard. It keeps on giving. It's the yard that keeps giving. 1 minute you have Colonial, next minute you have modern jeweler's loop. There you go. Well, it's not all Colonial fun and games out here. Piece of foil down about 8 inches. It's 55, 58, 50. It was a strange signal. It was bouncing all over, but it was compelling enough to dig, and that's what we have. Well, this came up as a 90, 91. Big old chunk of iron here. It's got some age to it, and it's in the back of the house. In any event, not what we're looking for, and it is time to call it a night. Well, folks, the amazing thing about metal detecting is you just never know what you're going to find. And, well, proves the case again in our own backyard. Only had about 2, maybe 3 hours to detect. Found a few interesting things. Let's take a look at the best of the best. Well, here are the 3 items we found. First is the jeweler's loop. It's seen its better days. Chrome is sort of wrecked around the bottom edge there, but glass is intact, and very interesting find. This is one of my favorites. Silver thimble, definitely early. We took a closer look at that earlier, cleaned it up a little bit more so you get a better look at it. And well, there you see. It could still use a little more cleaning, but I don't know if there's a hallmark in there. We'll try to give it a look and see a bit later, but just a really nice piece. It's definitely early. How early? Don't know. I'll try to find a parallel for it, and if I do, I'll include that, but definitely from the early part of the yard. Finally, this little guy. It's definitely a lead bag seal, and there is writing on both sides. On this side, I couldn't tell exactly what it was. I could see the U and the E and the R. I don't think they had Uber back in colonial times. And then when I looked closer under a magnifying glass, I started to make out the word there, and it is Quaker, Quaker. And it looks like there's a flower above and below. And if we turn it over to the other side and take another look under the glass, you'll see the same flowers and a Q, U, A. You can start to make out the A and the K. Hello, little fly. And you're making me go out of focus, fly. So there you have it, Q, U, A, K, and then the E and the R, more difficult to read, but clearly a flower above and below. And this was a 18th century farm, so I suspect it's the, it's some sort of seed for this farm. House going back to 1790, and really nice lead bag seal. I mean, that is really a sweet little piece. It's so cool. These little lead seals were basically the merchandise tag of colonial times. They contained a lot of information about the goods, where they were made, the quality, and while they're usually associated with textiles, they were used to secure all sorts of goods: tobacco, salt, linens, you name it. And usually the goods were packed in a sack that was tied with a string, and then this lead seal was molded into place on the string to keep the goods unmolested in their journey, predominantly from Europe to colonial America. And it's really interesting that as much information as these bag seals can tell us with their designs and their brands, there's surprisingly very little information available particularly on the lead seals here of North America. Now, I was able to find two other examples that are identical of these bag seals. One was found in Preston, Connecticut in 2017. The other was found in Springfield, Massachusetts in the same year. So it tells us that whatever this company brand offered, they had wide distribution in colonial America, stretching from the New England colonies down to the Pennsylvania colonies. So one little piece of lead tells us a lot about the early history of this country. Really fascinating. And of course, our thimble was also a lovely find. Without a hallmark, we can't tell much more about it. If it had been hallmarked, we would be able to tell the exact silversmith, the period, even the city of manufacture. So two very interesting early colonial artifacts, and I'm sure there's more hidden out there. So hopefully you'll join us on the next adventure. Please like and subscribe. These videos take a long time to produce, and I appreciate your support in giving us that thumbs up and subscribing if you'd like to see more. Take care. See you next time. May all your tones be high tones. See ya.